I'm a 28-year-old woman, and my childhood best friend Jess is also 28. We've known each other forever, but Jess lives in another state with her boyfriend, and we don't hang out much anymore. Recently, I broke my number one intimacy rule, which has been no intimacy before the third date with a handicapped guy, and now Jess is upset and grossed out, thinking I have some kind of fetish. About a month ago, I went on a first date with a guy that didn't go well, so I stopped at a local pub to unwind. The place was packed, and I ended up sitting at a table with a guy named Mike, who was reading a book. Mike, 29, is incredibly attractive, and we hit it off immediately. He's just finished his master's degree in a computer learning field and is living on his own for the first time. We talked for hours about various topics, and I felt a real connection. Mike eventually revealed that he uses a wheelchair due to a neuromuscular disorder that affects his balance and coordination. Instead of being deterred, I was impressed by his openness and kindness. We ended up spending the night together, and I've had no regrets since. We've been dating, and I feel like he might be the one. When I told Jess about Mike, she got weird and accused me of having a fetish for handicapped people because I broke my rule. She said I've changed and left without saying goodbye. I'm questioning if I'm wrong for being attracted to Mike and pursuing a relationship with him. Now for a few comments. One commenter pointed out that Mike is considerate and has his life together. They emphasize that love comes in all shapes and sizes. I responded, saying how considerate Mike is and how much I'm looking forward to meeting his family. Now for the 2-day update. I reached out to Jess, and she apologized, asking if we could have a do-over on lunch. We met again, and she explained that she's been going through a tough time. Her relationship ended, partly due to issues in the bedroom, and she's moving back in with her parents. Jess's outburst was more about her own struggles than anything to do with me and Mike. She tried talking with him about it, making suggestions, but he told her recently that it's emasculating being given intimacy advice by a woman. The straw that broke the metaphorical camel's back, however, was that her boyfriend has always had a thing for Asian women. She's Caucasian, but she does have long black hair. After weeks of fighting over their intimacy life, he suggested that they spice things up by her dressing in a kimono and pretending to be Asian. She lost it on him and is absolutely disgusted by the discriminatory fetishism and ended it right then. So she had all of this bottled up and was hoping to talk to me and finally be able to put it down. And I missed every hint that she had something big to discuss because I was gushing about Mike. So to her, it felt like I was just twisting the knife by bragging about how great our intimacy was. She snapped, and somewhere between what I was saying and what she wanted to talk about, some wires got crossed, and she said something incredibly dumb. She left without saying goodbye because she was mortified and ashamed as well as irrationally mad at me. Something to know about Jess. She's an awful liar. And she and I were the co-founders of our high school's Foot and Mouth Society, so I do believe her. I told her I forgive her, and I'm sorry I didn't realize she wanted to talk about something bothering her, and she said I was too stupidly nice and have nothing to apologize for, so I think we'll be okay. For the time being, I'm not ready for her and Mike to meet because I don't want to make things feel worse, and she agrees, but she's really, really happy for me. Hopefully, this is just a funny story we can look back on someday. So, on to how Mike almost ended the life of me. Lol. Last night we were talking about the Reddit post, and he gets this funny expression that I'm starting to recognize. And he goes, "How do we know you don't have a fetish if we haven't at least tried it in the chair?" And I'm like, "Are you serious, lol?" He said he's never attempted it because, cue tears, he's never felt so comfortable with a partner before. Well, his chair has what is essentially like a parking brake thing. Or it should. It's unfortunately broken, and apparently getting them fixed is an expensive pain in the butt. He doesn't use it that often, so he hasn't made it a priority. And there's this thing called Newton's third law. You know how every action has an equal and opposite reaction. As it happens, when you're trying to get the motion of the ocean going in a chair with wheels that aren't locked, there's a sort of counter motion that starts and messes it all up. So we were going nowhere fast, except for inching along the floor in his bedroom and laughing at the silliness, which isn't helping. Eventually, he just stops and says, "Maybe we can get some of those wooden block things they use to keep little planes from rolling away, like in Indiana Jones, you know?" I absolutely lost it. Like laughing so hard I'm in tears. He's giggling half at the situation and half at my reaction, and everything just keeps setting me off again. Finally, I get it under control, doing some deep breathing exercises and stuff, and I look at him again, and he pulls the straightest face he can and says, "For the love of God, golly, this sure is uncomfortable." Folks, if I had asthma, I would have died right there. I laughed so hard I think I pulled a rib, like wheezing and not even laughing anymore so much as weeping and making this awful hee noise when I could catch my breath. While he's laughing and rubbing my back and saying he's sorry, he couldn't resist So yeah, confirmed, no fetish here, and this magnificent bastard's comedic timing might actually unalive me. Now for the 1 month update. Hello again! I was going to post this on my own page, but a few people mentioned that they think it's nice to read on. Am I the idiot? So here's the Met Mike's family update. And it's a doozy, or at least felt like it at the time, for a girl who grew up with a small, dysfunctional family. So first up, you know what, people, at least me, don't think about when dating a guy who's always sitting. Height. I know he's taller than me because we cuddle a lot, and he's taller sitting on the couch, but I didn't really get it. So we drive up Friday night after work, actually south and west, but to my brain, it's always up in his vehicle, which is modified to be driven entirely using his hands. Neat, right? He's a really good driver too. One more green flag. We get to the house, and it's huge, you guys. LOL, like not a mansion, just kind of a sprawling one-floor rancher. Real estate was wild back in the day. Anyway, we get out, and I meet his mom. I'd like to point out I am no slouch. I'm 5'7". His mom is towering over me, but she was the nicest lady ever. We go inside, and I meet his dad, who funny enough is apparently the only short one in this family, and his youngest sister, who is living there with his 1-year-old niece. She gets up to hug me, and she is also really tall. It's already a bit late then, so we eat and head to bed. I get to see his cutest shoot room from when he was a teenager, and I casually ask, "Hey, so I don't know how this works and stuff, but how tall are you?" And Mike is all, "I don't know, like a bit over 6'4"? Been a while since I checked. A bit over 6'4". "So is everyone in your family tall?" "Kinda." We met the Nordic basketball team he calls a family properly the next day. Actually, they're Irish, but they're blonde and tall, so it conveys the idea better. The only one of reasonable height, and still taller than me, was his oldest sister, Lolo. They are also loud, like not really shouting or anything usually, just present. Mike is a lot different around them, but in the cutest way, like he just beams all the time, and you can see how happy he is to be home. One of his brothers put him in a headlock and gave him a dang noogie as a greeting and got elbowed in the side for it, and all of them laughing. And his mom smacked one of his brothers with a rolled-up magazine for putting his feet on the table. More laughing. Just intimidating, but in the happiest way imaginable. I'll admit I was a little shut down for a bit, but Mike kept checking in with me to make sure I was okay, and they were all really nice. So I got into the spirit after a bit. I mentioned this in another comment, but Mike has a special sports wheelchair he uses for, well, sports, and he and his siblings play basketball, and he is good. Apart from just having a hell of an arm, he's quick as hell. And this magnificent bastard that I love will absolutely purposefully gleefully run someone's toes over. He aims for it. They all have this yank back the foot maneuver that's hysterical to watch. So it was this crazy day of loud people playing and having a blast, nieces and nephews running around, and just noise. My ears are still ringing. The food was catered in advance because his mom had 7 babies. All I make on Mother's Day is margaritas. They also have a pool. It's a bit chilly still, but the pool is heated, so we actually all got to swim, which was a lot of fun because I got to show off that I too am athletic. I can do a backward somersault off a diving board. Yeah, I'm a real catch, lol. They at least pretended to be impressed. We all stayed up late drinking and complaining that it was too overcast to see the aurora, and I had the worst hangover I've had in a while on Sunday. We slept in a bit late, and then joined Mike's family for the barbecue part of the barbecue weekend. His dad can grill, and he's fast, with food coming off the grill at lightning speed. I asked Mike about it, and he laughed and said, "There were 7 of us to feed. Ever see a nest of baby birds?" He had practice. Which, fair enough. I don't have much experience with babies, but I got to hold his youngest niece, the one living at home with his sister until her husband gets back from deployment, and we had a light talk about kids in the future. I told him that I never put much thought into it, but if they were going to grow up in a happy home like his, and not how I grew up, I'm pretty sure I'd be open to having them with him someday. But later, I need him all to myself for a while first. He seemed really happy about that, which makes me feel all goofy and happy. I'm sappy. We had to drive home Sunday night, but before we went, his mom hugged me and said she's never seen her son like this, and thanked me for taking good care of her baby. She asked if we'd be back for the 4th of July, or if we were doing something with my family. I tried to be all, "Ha! No, we'll be here if you don't mind." I don't see them much. And I think she caught on that there's more to the story, so she just hugged the heck out of me and told me she can't wait to see me again. My ears are still ringing from all the noise and chaos, but it was an absolute blast, and I can't wait to see them again in July. Also, I'm pretty much sure Mike is the man I'm going to marry. I literally can't think of a single reason why I would ever let him get away. Anyway, thanks for reading. Hope you all had a lovely weekend, and those of you who got to see the aurora, I'm happy for you, but you suck, lol. Now for the 4th of July update. As I've gotten a ton of requests for updates, I figured I would let you guys know how things are going in my world. You know how sometimes a relationship looks amazing at first, but then all the red flags start showing up? This isn't one of those stories, lol. Sorry, that was mean, but I couldn't resist. Okay, on to the actual update. No, we aren't engaged yet. Yes, we have talked about it in the context of how seriously we are taking things. No babies yet either, obviously. We are diligent about birth control. I want Mike all to myself for a while. So the 4th of July visit to his family's house was pretty awesome. After getting to know everyone last time, I had better expectations of what I was going into, and I've talked with my therapist about the whole play fighting makes me anxious because in my childhood home, it wasn't playing thing. I don't want them to ever curb how they act to cater to me, and instead, I guess I'll consider it immersion therapy. I think Mike mentioned it anyway because I didn't see much of it this time, though there were cheerful threats of doom lobbed about, which I didn't mind at all. His mom is amazing, I'd like to point out, even if she moms so hard it makes me weepy. So, background info. I have a really common-sounding name spelled really uncommonly. Think Danielle or Jessica, because in addition to everything else, my parents decided to be creative when they named me. So, although I do sort of like my name, that meant I was that kid who never saw their name personalized on anything. Mike's family, on the other hand, had like a million kids, and they all got traditional names, so personalized stuff was huge for them. It kept them from fighting over stuff, I guess. One of the things in their house, because they have a pool, is that each of the kids, adults now, has their own personalized beach towel that lives at the house. So we get to their place, and it's been a hot drive there. So right after we get in, Mike suggests I go to his room to get changed into a swimsuit so we can have a dip in the pool. I'm thinking that sounds perfect, right? Some of you may already know where this is going. I get to his room, and there is a towel on the bed, in my favorite color, with my stupidly spelled name embroidered into it. So here I am crying over a towel, and he's in the doorway watching and grinning like he just pranked me or something. Turns out it was her idea, but she checked with Mike to make sure it was spelled right. So now I have a towel for when we visit, because apparently I'm welcome. If I sound cranky, it's just because I'm better at self-depreciation than I am at expressing emotions in a direct way. I really am blown away and touched by how much these people have welcomed me. Mike has already sort of learned to decode the way I talk and joke, which is nice, but the first time he gently said, "That's not humor, that's just putting yourself down, babe," I definitely wanted to go hide under the table. He doesn't let me be mean to me. That's a thing good partners do, I guess? I wouldn't know. Again, yes, I am in therapy. I am working on myself. It's not his responsibility to put me back together. It's just something he does naturally. I literally told him one night that I was sorry I'm kind of broken, and he snorted and said, "At least you can walk," in the most disgusted voice ever, and made me laugh. I digress. So the food was once again amazing, and I kept my promise to teach his mom how to make my cinnamon bun bread pudding. So I felt like I contributed. I learned to play Yahtzee, and as it turns out, I'm very good at it. They do a lot of board games at night when everyone is staying for the week. These people have a lot of board games, and puzzles, a whole storage closet of the things. They also drink like fish and can hold it, so I am learning to pace myself. Mike doesn't drink much when we aren't there, so I'm not worried that it's a red flag. The only red flag of his that I've found was a Red Sox pennant in his room. Now I realize I might be talking him up a lot, but he isn't perfect. He snores. He has a habit of arguing with people on the TV when they make stupid decisions. He sometimes starts talking about things I don't understand and just goes and goes until he realizes he lost me like 15 minutes ago. And he is fastidiously tidy, which makes me feel guilty because I have bad habits to lose. I'm not used to clutter means I can't move through an area, but I'm really trying. I barely spend any time at my own place anymore, and we're definitely looking to move in together sooner than later. Yeah, so not that much of an update. No one burned themselves on a firework or anything super exciting. I'm just in an ongoing relationship with a great guy who has a great family, and things continue to look up for us. We head home tonight so we can spend some alone time Sunday. Hope everyone else had a safe and happy holiday. Now for the 4-week update. I debated just posting this on my own page, but a lot of people keep asking for more. So I guess it doesn't hurt to drop my post. This is not an exciting update. Not engaged. No babies on the way. Not even freakishly tall ones like some of you are hexing me with. But Jess finally met Mike. I mean, I'm not sorry. I feel compelled to open with a joke, and I don't know why. Anyway, she thinks he's amazing. She thinks it is hysterical that I'm on TikTok. I refuse to download it, and she is doing amazing. Our lives are moving forward together. Jess and I have this friend, who I will call Meg. Meg was planning to have a birthday party, the big 3-0, and she and Jess are close, and both presently single. They chose a local bar with outside seating, and Jess did a wait, let's check their accessibility, because I have been complaining to her for the last month. After calling the place, they didn't have a ramp for the balcony/outside seating area. As I have been told, Jess said, "Nope, I am meeting Mr. Throwra, Jess, come on." And so they found another place that's a hike from everyone, but it has a great outside area with accessibility. And then we got the invite through Facebook, because we are all basic, I guess. Mike was stoked because they have this awesome beer selection. Full stop, I hate hops, so. Then Meg told us they chose it because Jess wanted Mike to feel welcome. So hats off to Jess for making the comeback impression of the century, I guess. The birthday was fun and silly, and everyone in my immediate friend group met Mike and loved him. Tons of laughter, everyone drank way too much, but fortunately, we had enough heads up for a planned motel stay. Why, yes, I do own a UV flashlight. Why do you ask? So we and a bunch of other people didn't drive home. We actually had brunch in the bar the next day. It was absolutely awesome, and I am ruined for pancakes because fluffy. Once again, I digress. Jess and Mike hit it off, and she told him literally every story I didn't want her to over brunch, and it all was great apart from the persistent hangover. I crashed at Mike's again, and then he asked what it would cost to break my lease because he hates the mornings he wakes up and I'm not there. So the next upcoming week and a half or so is going to be insane while I pack up my whole life and shove half into a storage unit and the other half into his apartment, and then we'll be living together. I know it's too soon. He does too. We've decided we're idiots and just going for it. My landlord is a lady who is a bit on the older side and isn't charging me for breaking the lease as long as I leave the place ready for a new renter, so I may respond to comments for a bit right away, but expect a lot of silence for a while after. Best friend made a good second impression, and I'm moving in with Mike ahead of schedule. I should be worried, but I'm actually just really excited. Wish me luck. Now for the 7-week update. Hey, I get a lot of messages asking how things are going, but I kinda hate when people update every 5 minutes with the "my neighbor looked at me sideways" updates after 3 paragraphs of recapping drama. So for those not invested, still with Mike. He's amazing. I will marry him. We live together now. It's been trying. As in, he is trying not to laugh at how inept I am at cohabitation. I am really good at not leaving stuff out now, so there's improvement. He doesn't infantilize me at all, but he definitely gives me the grace due an absolute idiot. I appreciate it. We are not engaged. Guys, it's been half a year. Come on. I'm writing a book about our relationship. It starts with "my name is," and the rest is just notes. Don't hold your breath. Jess moved into my old apartment. Yes, my former landlord is the GOAT. Jess is also seeing a guy. I think it is too soon. She agrees, but she has reasons, and who am I to judge? And I was recently in kind of a serious car accident. I am fine. I have great health insurance, great car insurance, and am recovering just fine. No GoFunds here. Though if you want to help, just find a reputable charity for helping victims of drunk drivers and give them your money. So I was on my way home from working overtime, and some dude clipped my car, and I ended up in a ditch while he just sort of spun out. But I wear my seatbelt because I have a brain, and I got really, really lucky. Everything is fine. My medical deductible was already paid up for the year, and the worst I had was some bruises, a cracked fibula, whiplash, and a totaled car. The silver lining is that Mike is great at caretaking. Another check mark in the having kids category. Also, his mom brought us like 1,000,000 homemade frozen dinners in Costco serving trays, and we had nowhere to put them, so she bought us a chest freezer. I don't even know with this family. They are amazing. I know usually I give some sweet, heartwarming updates while complaining about mental health, but I am pretty well medicated until my leg heals, and I have a few weeks off work to cuddle Mike while watching bad sci-fi, so I'm not in the best place to fill your cups. Sorry. Also, don't watch Another Life on Netflix unless you have the ability to set your brain aside, because it is the least consistent show I have ever seen. I mean, I loved it, especially the spine ripping itself out of a person and trying to walk away. Oh my God, but it requires suspension of disbelief like few things I have encountered in all my years. Also, Mike says hi. He indulges me. Have a good autumn, and please, for the love of heck, don't drive drunk. And don't expect anything from me unless the Thanksgiving gathering is as epic as they claim, because Reddit is probably already over my stuff. As always, love you guys for all the support. I'm okay. The relationship is fab, and please don't drink and drive. Edit. I don't have a cracked femur. Jesus crackers. These meds are something. I have a fractured fibula, lower leg, outside bone, and it didn't break all the way through. I have no idea how I mix those two up. Mike says at least I'm cute when I'm high, but he is clearly biased. So yeah, cracked fibula, little leg bone, shortish, healing time. Not femur, thank goodness. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "I've been here since your first post, and I'm still so happy for you. Everyone deserves an amazing, loving relationship, and I'm glad you have that. Enjoy all the Thanksgiving food." Then OP replied, "It really isn't too bad. I didn't break my leg, thankfully. I got super lucky. It'll be a good while before I am cleared to run again, but I literally got to go home the same night I got taken to the hospital, so I'm calling it a win. Now for the 2-week update. Missed them months ago, but we got an alert they were visible tonight and we drove out to the closest low-light area. Pretty. I'm still on leave, but Mike took time off for tomorrow so we can sleep in and watch this as much as we can. I know it's silly, but damn, I am so happy. Now for the 2.5-month update. Hello, Reddit friends. It's been a minute, right? Sorry about that. There's been a lot of very real-life stuff that intersected with the holiday, so I haven't had the best time to make an update. Thanks for asking so much, though. I feel the support. First thing, Mike and I are great. Coming up on a year, if you can believe it. Out of respect, I'll put a trigger warning here about parental death, trauma, etc. I had a Thanksgiving post in my notes almost fully written when unfortunately I got the call. I've mentioned before that I had kind of a rough upbringing and have been estranged from my parents for a few years, but they were still my parents, you know? So anyhow, my mother passed away the day after Thanksgiving. Natural causes. She just neglected her health in general. I hadn't talked to her since a half-hearted attempt last Christmas. She didn't even know about Mike. And I don't know if I even feel sad exactly, but it knocked me for a loop, and writing about how great Mike's family is left a bad taste in my mouth. My therapist says I, paraphrasing here, already mourned the loss of the good parts of my mom when I started processing the bad parts, so my reaction isn't abnormal, for once. But it wasn't the easiest time, and then the funeral meant a whole lot of people I never wanted to see again. Mike was a godsend. He's so charismatic and charming that no one had anything bad to say to me. It was more like a room of acquaintances. I'm so glad we moved in together. I don't know how I would have gotten through it and then gone home alone. So, I'm going to do this a little out of order. Mike and I spent the whole Christmas week with his parents again, and they were very sympathetic and understanding in the "we respect that you don't want us to make a big deal" way. Most of his family wasn't there except for dinner the day after Christmas. Just wait till the Thanksgiving recap, and you'll understand why Christmas is so low-key. No one could handle that twice in 2 months. So it was nice to wake up and feel like family and open presents in my pajamas. Mike and I have matching Christmas ones now. We are ridiculous together, and I love it. Also, it was a white Christmas for the first time in years. To those hoping for a proposal, I did get jewelry, but not a ring. Sorry. Believe me, it's on the table and where we feel we are headed, but we're not rushing things. Also, given everything going on, it wouldn't have been the right time. But I got a lovely pendant with my birthstone and real diamonds, so I was very spoiled. Christmas dinner was good and catered, and a lot of chaos and kids and presents, and I missed most of it because I had a pretty bad headache and it was just a lot at once. But I was there for pictures, and everyone kind of accepts that I'm the future wife even without a ring, so I feel nice and included. Sorry that this update is on a bit of a downer note. I know I don't really sound like my usual upbeat self, but I'll get back there once the holidays, seasonal depression, and stuff is behind me. That's why I saved my Thanksgiving post for the end, to hopefully go out on a high note. The Thanksgiving recap. Hi all. I get a lot of requests for updates, so I thought I'd share how things are going, now that Gluttony Day is behind us. Mike and I are happily cohabitating still. Things are well on most fronts. I had a minor car accident a little while ago. I posted on my page about it, but I'm mostly healed up now. Mike's family is still the absolute best, and honestly his mom is more motherly than mine has ever been. Sucks, but it is what it is. See? That line right there. Ouch. I'd been warned that Thanksgiving is sort of their big holiday, since a lot of the family spends time elsewhere on Christmas, and that it's a bit of a spectacle. But Lord Almighty, I was not prepared for this shoot. So, things you need to know. There is some weird battle of the sexes thing they do. A few years ago, Mike's mom pointed out that the family kept getting bigger and it was harder to make enough turkey for everyone. So the kids got together and everyone takes credit for the idea and bought their dad one of those turkey deep fryers for Christmas. So Thanksgiving rolls around again. I so wish I'd met Mike sooner to see it myself, and thanks to the combination of beer and Neng, I'm sure we can figure this out. Apparently their dad set fire to the lawn. At least no one was hurt, apart from pride. But after that, there was sober practice, and now mom's turkey versus dad's turkey is this whole thing. Like there is literally shoot talk the whole day. People are set up into camps. I joked we needed team shirts, and I think they actually want to do that next year. It was all pretty hilarious and casual, and they had like 3 damn tables set up. Don't worry, Reddit. I made sure no teenagers were being parentified or unliked in-laws were being forced to sit at the kids' table. Actually, I was low-key jealous. They got crayons and coloring books. The food was all amazing and all hands on deck except for me because his mom refused to have me on my feet, even though my leg is basically fine now. Mike kept bringing me stuff. It was so cute, y'all. I can't even put into words how much golden retriever energy this boy has. If you're wondering who made the better turkey, ooh man, it's hard. Mike's mom does a brine. Alton Brown is the GOAT, but there is something about fried turkey skin that is just next level. So I'd say it's a tie, and that's not just me being diplomatic. I ate so much that I barely had room for dessert. It was fantastic. I never fall asleep in the car, but I was passed out on the drive home. We had kind of a second Thanksgiving at home the next day from the leftovers, and I probably just put on 50 pounds. No regrets. Anyway, I'm off to sleep the bird off. I hope you all had a wonderful turkey day and a great Christmas coming up. End recap. So there you have it. I'm okay. We're okay, and I'm looking forward to 2025 being even better than 2024. Happy New Year's, and I wish you all the best. Now for a few comments. Inedible Calamari 42 said, I love you and Mike with wheels in this whole damn saga. Happy New Year to you and yours. Soggy Milk 105 commented, I forgot, does Mike have any single relatives? Lol. I love you guys. I'm sorry for your losses. Sometimes it can hurt to lose the potential for a person to redeem themselves, but that might just be me. Wishing you continued happiness. Am I the idiot for cutting off my sister's boyfriend after he tried to dictate my life choices? Here's the script. So I have an older sister who has 4 kids. She loves being a mom and wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and I encourage her to do whatever she wants. She understands that I have no desire to be a mom right now, if ever. I have 2 other older sisters who, like me, don't want to be stay-at-home mothers. Her boyfriend is mad at me because he asked when I'm going to settle down, and that he can introduce me to his friend who wants a stay-at-home wife. I told him no, that I don't want to date anyone this year, and he got mad at me for some reason and asked why. So I told him my ex-boyfriend left me with trust issues. He told me we broke up in 2023 and I should start getting back out there. I told him it's not his business, and he dropped it. But 2 days ago, he asked if I wanted to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. I told him no, that I don't, and I'm not even sure if I want kids, let alone to be married. He got defensive since his mom was a stay-at-home wife and mom. I told him I don't see anything wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, but I don't personally want to depend on a man for anything. He once again got defensive and said, not all men are the same. I told him he was correct, but again, not all women want the same thing. He said my sister wants to be a stay-at-home wife and mom, and I told him congratulations on finding that with my sister, but I once again don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. He got mad because he overheard my conversation about me getting an IUD and told me I'm ruining God's plan to make me a mom one day. I told him whether I want kids or not is not his business. He got mad at me and told me to get out of his home, so I did. My older sister is asking me to apologize to him and to not get an IUD, since if I get pregnant, it's God's plan. She also told me I should reconsider being a stay-at-home mom/wife. I told her not everyone has that dream. She accused me of not respecting stay-at-home mothers' wives, which is nothing but lies. My 2 other older sisters are on my side and said my sister's boyfriend shouldn't be too concerned with how I live my life, and that if I don't want to depend on anyone for the rest of my life, that's my choice. He also said, I'm going to hell for being bisexual, so I screamed that I guess his girlfriend, my sister, is also going to hell because she's bisexual herself, which he already knows about. Now their friends are calling me a jerk, saying that he only cares about what I do with my body since it's God's body, and I should respect it and become a mom soon. So am I the jerk for telling my sister's boyfriend it's not his business if I don't want to be a stay-at-home wife mom? Now for a few comments. One commenter said, this guy sounds like a creep. Who is he to dictate what you do with your life, your career, and your body? I hope your sister knows about this and supports you. Not the idiot. Then OP replied, my sister who is with him wholeheartedly supports him and that I should be a stay-at-home. She wants me to apologize to keep the peace, but I told her I'm done keeping the peace. He also supports the baby unaliving ban, which is his opinion. Me, on the other hand, is pro-choice. He wants a national baby unaliving ban, even for rap and inbreeding, which makes me nervous to be in a room with him. She also supports this. Another commenter added, NTA, his views on stay-at-home moms and traditional gender roles are his own, and he shouldn't be imposing them on you. Another commenter noted, he's not really that traditional. He's not married to the mother of his child. And another said, people are traditional only when it is convenient to them. Now for the 2-day update. I already knew I was going to go no contact with her boyfriend, as I don't feel safe around him. But I went ahead and called my sister to tell her why I chose no contact. She is now super mad at me, saying I overreacted and all that fun stuff. So I asked her if they were going to apologize, and she said they don't owe me an apology, and I owe him an apology. He overheard us on the phone and once again got into the conversation. I told him I have nothing to say to him. He told me he wanted to know an answer to 2 of his questions. Why I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I told him it's none of his business and to stay in his lane. Why I don't want to marry his friend. I told him that he isn't my type and never will be, and to not talk to me again. He told me if I don't stop overreacting, I won't have anything to do with my nephews and niece. And that, not gonna lie, got to me. I told him for my mental health, I'm done being talking to him. My sister said, okay, you made your choice, and we will make ours. So now I'm no contact with both of them. Also found out, my dad found out yesterday, and this morning after I was on the phone with them, he went and yelled at Josh and told him to back off, and that his daughter wasn't for sale or anything like that. They got into a fistfight, and apparently, my dad won. I'm not totally sure about that, though. My dad called me and apologized and asked me personally why I don't want to be a stay-at-home mother. So I told him the reason, which had to do with my dad and stepmom. He apologized to me, saying that he never meant to do that to her. He was very hurtful to her. At one point, I saw him choke her and screamed, and he let her go but never apologized for it. So I decided to cut off my sister and her boyfriend, which sucked because I won't be able to see my niece and nephews anymore. But my mental health and physical health are more important to me, to be honest. Then OP added one more thing that was said that they forgot to mention. So in my last post about this, there were so many people telling me to ask him when he's going to marry my sister since they are not living in God's plan. So I asked him. His response was, "It's not my business to know." To which I said then, it's not his business to know anything about what I do with my body and who I date and all that. He got angry with me and proceeded to cuss me out. I honestly just laughed. Now for a few comments. New Fishing 2596 said, "So it's his business to know about yours?" Quiet Moon 2191 added, "It's like he's trying to groom her to be a sister wife or a communal wife with his friend. Creepy." Then Healthy Brain 5354 commented, "He probably promised his mate he can have the sister." Am I the idiot for cutting ties with a friend who beat his daughter and blaming me for reporting it? My friend hit his daughter and broke her rib. I am absolutely furious right now. My friend has a daughter who is also in my 7th grade history class. She is the nicest kid in the world and one of the best students in any of my classes. However, this morning, she came into my class late and was not herself. Normally, she is raising her hand and engaging with the class, but she had her hoodie up and her head down. She was holding her arm to the side and looked to be in pain. Halfway through class, I walked by her desk to check on her, and she looked up at me and had tears in her eyes. I brought her outside my classroom and asked her what was wrong, but she was not responding, but she started crying even more. After a couple more minutes of reassurance, she finally opened up. She woke up late for school and accidentally dropped a glass of water when she was getting ready. My friend, who is her father, punched her twice in the ribs and yelled at her for being clumsy. I asked her if she was hurt, and she pulled her hoodie up, and her ribs were beginning to bruise. My friend is 6'4" and over 200 pounds. My student is 12 years old and cannot be more than 85 pounds. I asked my colleague in the next class to watch over my class, and I took her to the health office where her mother picked her up. When she saw her daughter sitting in pain, she nearly burned the office down. She started cursing my friend's name and said this was the last straw for her. She asked me not to file a report, but I told her I was required to, as I was shown evidence of abuse, and her daughter used the word abuse, which she begrudgingly understood. I am so mad right now. My friend has always had a short temper, but hitting your child because she dropped a glass is beyond disgusting. My student's mother texted me at noon and said her daughter broke a rib and is going to be out of class until Wednesday. I feel awful for my student. She is such a bright kid and is well liked by her peers, and now she is having trouble breathing because her father cannot act like an adult. I am ending my friendship with this man. He has been getting on my nerves for a while, but I will be damned if I am friends with someone who hits their child. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "Sounds like the mom was also letting it happen if she asked not to report. Last straw sounds like it's happened before. Damn, this is sad." I replied, "I have been stuck on that sentence all day." I gave her a confused look when she said it. "What do you mean, this is the last straw?" It made me wonder if I ever witnessed moments of abuse between them before this incident. Another commenter wondered, "That's why I am wondering if the daughter will necessarily be safer with her mother." I responded, "From what she was saying, it seems like she witnessed abuse but did not partake in it herself. That could make her an enabler, of course, but her daughter is 100x more safe with her. I'm also planning on checking in on my student regularly once she comes back, just so she knows there is an adult around that she hopefully feels comfortable coming to if she needs help." Now for the one-day update. Hi everyone. A lot of people wanted an update on my previous post here, so here they are. The guidelines of my school district mandate that a police officer come whenever a child reports an instance of abuse. I am not going to go into detail for reasons of student confidentiality, but there is a warrant going out for the arrest of her father. My student is home with her mother and grandparents, and is recovering. One of her ribs is broken, and she is in a lot of pain, but she is breathing a lot better. Her mother and father are married, but have been living apart for a couple of months. She has been floating the idea of divorcing him, and she sent me a text message this morning saying she's going to file for divorce. Her mother is a really good person, and she also reported moments of abuse between her husband. She has been able to find living arrangements and is able to support herself and her daughter. I have known her for 16 years. She would never lay a hand on her daughter. She is a good parent. My student's father blew up my phone last night, saying I am destroying his family and to stay out of his business. I did not respond and blocked him. My student's mother walked into my classroom after school today to pick up any assignments for her daughter. She thanked me for reaching out to her daughter and said I saved her daughter and herself from a lifetime of abuse. She handed me a note and said her daughter wrote it. I read it when she left and started to cry. My student thanked me for recognizing that she was in pain. She felt comfortable talking to me since she has known me her entire life and knew I would act if she told me she was in danger. She called me her favorite teacher and said she will be prepared for class when she returns. I pray she fully recovers and is not deeply traumatized by this event. She is a good kid and needs to be loved and cared for by people who appreciate her. Edit. Her father was arrested this morning. He is no longer a threat right now. He did admit to driving by my apartment complex last night. I might have dodged a major bullet by leaving town for the weekend. I can relax a little bit. So can my student and her mother. Thank you for everyone who supported me through this situation. If you are being abused, please tell a teacher or counselor if you are in school. I understand that it is difficult to talk about such a topic, but we are here to help you. I know there are situations where some teachers do not assist the student, but please give yourself the chance to be helped. It can mean the difference between a lifetime of danger or the ability to escape your situation. Now for more comments. One commenter said, "That's good to hear. Why did the mother initially ask you not to file a report? If she took her daughter to the hospital and they suspected child abuse, then they would have had to report it too." I replied, "She was afraid of her husband retaliating against her or her daughter. It's an unfortunate situation to be in. People who are in hurtful relationships will put up with it, but many will drop everything if they see their child receiving abuse. It's a terrible cycle to go through." I also mentioned, "I am definitely looking out for my safety, lol. My school is on a 3-day weekend, so my girlfriend and I are going to her parents' house a couple of hours away with our daughter. I do not need him harassing me or my girlfriend or my daughter. He has nothing to lose right now, which makes him even more dangerous." Another commenter advised, "Bring any of your and your family's important documents. He might be trashing your house or worse, attempting to burn it to the ground. Just a precaution." I responded, "All the important documents we have are in a specific box, and we did bring it with us. We are not taking any chances. I might delete both of my posts and this account as well, just as a precaution." Now for the 8-day update. My student came back to class today. She was out all week with a broken rib after her father hit her. She was supposed to come back on Wednesday, but she wasn't ready, so they waited until yesterday. She walked into class with the biggest smile in the world. Her arm was in a sling, but she was not taking any deep breaths like she was last weekend. She sat down and participated in the class like nothing happened. She's so cool. After school, she walked into my classroom and handed me a note and an envelope. In the envelope was a gift certificate to a nice Italian restaurant from her mother. She told me to take my girlfriend and daughter out to dinner this weekend. The note was her thanking me for recognizing she was in pain and acting on it. She knew she could trust me, and my actions went a long way for her knowing she can go to someone she trusts if she is in distress. She wrote me a similar letter last week, but it was her reiterating what she said. She gave me a hug and left, and I closed the door and cried a little bit. She is very strong for a 12-year-old. I can tell this event is not going to affect her greatly. Her mother is working harder to be open with her, and she has a good family support system. Her father is in jail and will be for a long time. She's a special kid. She is by far my favorite student.